celebrating 48 years on the air. Award-winning Farm Week is a production of Mississippi State University Extension.
Today on Farm Week, the White House issues the first part of its MAHA report, Make America Healthy Again. The next part, what to do about the results. Plus, the U.S. and Mexico at odds with one another water-wise. Now what? In Southern gardening, and we love this at Mississippi State, plants with maroon leaves. And in our feature, how they do things in the old country, Zach visits Italy. Farm Week starts right now.
Hello everyone, I'm Zach Ashmore.
And I'm Mike Russell. Great to have you with us again here on Farm Week. The president's big, beautiful bill has certainly commanded a lot of attention from lawmakers and the media over recent weeks. But it was the 73 pages in this White House report that got a lot of scrutiny just days ago and will again very soon. From the White House, the president was flanked by HHS Secretary RFK Jr. along with Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins and others as they unveiled the Make America Healthy Again report. It comes out against ultra-processed foods linked to a host of poor health outcomes and follows the president's executive order on February 13th. Long-term, it's likely to have a huge effect on farmers, the marketplace in general, and if President Trump has his way, a largely positive impact on the health of Americans across the board. Soon, based on this report, a strategy for changes in our health system will also be unveiled. Here in Mississippi, water has long been a hot topic for coverage on Farm Week over the 48 years we've been on the air. While we tend to have plenty of it, there's been work in the West about policy on allotments and disputes in regions not normally in the discussion. John Torpy has more.
In the middle of the Rio Grande River, held back by the Enzeldúas-Ritmo Dam, water is being diverted to Mexico's main irrigation canal. The diversion is part of an agreement established in 1944 between the U.S. and Mexico that dictates how water from the Rio Grande, Colorado, and Tijuana rivers is to be shared between the two countries. Recently, the two countries have been at odds because of Mexico's failure to honor those water delivery mandates that help provide water to U.S. farmers in South Texas.
For Texas farmers who are requesting water, there will be an immediate delivery of a certain number of millions of cubic meters that could be provided according to the water availability in the Rio Grande.
Wording in what is now known as the Water Treaty of 1944 stipulates Mexico must deliver 350,000 acre-feet of water to the United States annually. Over a 5-year cycle, the allotment is 1.75 million acre-feet of water. Deliveries are made via two international reservoirs on the Rio Grande River, Amistad and Falcon. After delivery, the state of Texas owns the water and grants usage to an agglomeration of agencies that distribute the precious resource to end users and water rights holders. According to data from the International Boundary and Water Commission, the governing body in charge of accounting for the water deliveries, Mexico has fallen short on delivery of promised supplies for the current cycle that ends in October of 2025. In May of 2025, IBWC data shows Mexico has delivered just over 600,000 acre-feet of water, about 1.15 million acre-feet under the amount mandated by the treaty. To meet agreement guidelines, Mexico must deliver an additional 1.15 million acre-feet of water by the end of the 5-year treaty cycle in October of 2025.
They're not paying up. They still owe us over a million acre-feet of water. Those farmers down there grow 4-5 crops because they pretty much grow year-round because of the climate. This year they had enough water to grow one crop. You can't stay in business doing that. This is crucial, getting the water treaty fixed with Mexico. So we got a real problem, and it's time we get on top of that.
Tony Martinez is a managing member of Primo Trading Services. a fresh produce brokerage. Martinez farms in both the U.S. and Mexico and acknowledges farming in both countries helps his operations navigate water supply struggles.
We have not farmed Texas watermelons in the valley in the last 4 years because we had to move that to Mexico. Why? Because our allocations of water have been less. The issue with water is something that's not going to go away, unfortunately.
We'll soon have an extended version of this story here on Farm Week. In that version, we'll hear more from Mexico and from producers like those here in Mississippi who depend on it for crop stability.
On the lighter side, maroon is a popular choice if you're anywhere around Mississippi State University in Starkville, but it's also a popular choice in the landscape. Here's Southern Gardening host Dr. Eddie Smith with more on that.
Plants with maroon-colored leaves add depth, contrast, and visual interest to the landscape. Today I'm at the home of Devo and Rosemary Lancaster in Grenada, Mississippi. Let's take a look at some of the plants growing in their landscape with maroon-colored leaves. The various deciduous Japanese maples on the property add rich color to the landscape with their finely cut, deep maroon foliage. Their graceful branching structure and delicate leaves create a striking focal point, whether used as a specimen tree or as part of a woodland garden. The Japanese barberries planted in the landscape are deciduous shrubs known for their dense, spiny branches and vibrant foliage. The small, oval to oblong leaves measure about 1/2 to 1 1/4 inches long and are arranged alternately or in clusters along the stems. This variety has foliage that ranges in color from dark green to a deep maroon burgundy color. During spring, typically from April to May, Japanese barberry produces delicate bell-shaped or cup-like flowers that are pale yellow and about 1/4 inch in diameter. These blooms appear singly or in small drooping clusters along the stems and have a light fragrance that attracts bees and other early season pollinators. Check with your local nurseries and garden centers to see what plants are available with maroon leaves. I'm Eddie Smith and I look forward to seeing you next time on Southern Gardening.
We'll take a break right here, but don't go away. Coming up on our Farm Week feature, Zach's special story from the other side of the world. You may not know it, but Italy is a major world producer of citrus, and one place in particular is famous within the country for its lemons, Sorrento. It wasn't always that way, but through clever ag practices, grafting, and a dedication to quality, these fruits have become a staple product of the Amalfi Coast region. Zach's trip to the old country, coming up on Farm Week. Don't go away.
I believe in people and their hopes, their aspirations and their faith, and their right to make their own plans and arrive at their own decisions, and their ability and power to enlarge their lives and plan for the happiness of those they love. I believe that education, of which extension work is an essential part, is basic in stimulating individual initiative, self-determination, and leadership. That these are the keys to democracy, and that people, when given facts they understand, will act not only in their self-interest, but also in the interest of society. Because I believe these things, I am an extension professional.
I believe in people and their hopes, their aspirations, and their faith. I believe in intellectual freedom to search for and present the truth without bias and with courteous tolerance toward the views of others. I believe that education is a lifelong process, and the greatest university is the home. That my success as a teacher is proportional to those qualities of mind and spirit that give me welcome entrance to the homes of the families I serve. Because I believe these things, I am an extension professional.
Time for the market report. Prices inching upward.
And that's all around with only a few exceptions. And we'll get into it and more. But first, the numbers. What were the week's biggest gains and losses? And then several USDA reports updating us on livestock, specifically cattle and poultry. And finally, in our row report, market analyst Sue Martin tells us what the experts are thinking at the moment. So, markets closed the week on the upswing, both row crops and livestock trending upward with only a few exceptions. Let's take a look. The week's biggest gain, wheat up nearly 18.5 cents, a 3.5% increase from the previous week. The week's biggest loss, sugar down about 1/4 cent. That's more than 1.25 points from the previous week. So, several USDA reports came out recently, the cattle on feed report and the chicken and eggs report, both giving us significant updates on the livestock industry so far this year. Bella Bingham has the details.
In this month's Cattle on Feed report, cattle and calves on feed in the U.S. on May 1st totaled about 11.5 million head. That's 2% below May last year. Placements in feedlots during April this year about 1.5 million head, 3% lower than last year. Marketings of fed cattle in April nearly 2 million head, 3% down from last year. Other disappearance about 50,000 head, 11% below last year as well. In the chicken and eggs report, U.S. egg production totaled over 8.25 billion last month, down 7% from last year. How does that break up? About 7 billion table eggs and about 1.25 billion hatching eggs, most of which were broilers. Average number of layers, 352 million, down 6% from last year. Total layers in the U.S. as of May 1st, 352 million, down 5% from last year.
As you saw in the market update, row crop prices are rising, albeit slowly. So, what are the factors making that happen? Market analyst Sue Martin gives us the rundown, and it seems weather is the biggest thing, followed by geopolitical maneuvering.
The funds, I haven't seen Friday's, commitment of traders, but I think we've seen some short covering. But on the same token, the commitment of traders in the past few weeks have shown record short position in Kansas City wheat. And then in Chicago wheat, very large short position, but not record. And I think that when you look around the world and you look at weather, China's weather's very concerning. And, just this last week, they had temps of 104 in Hunan and some of the surrounding provinces, and they account for at least 20% of the wheat produced. And now, if China's going to be importing wheat, they tend to a lot of times go to Australia, but Australia's having some dry weather concerns too. And so, those two, now there's Russia. And Russia's been on the drier side and more arid here of late after we've had some frost freezes here in May. This almost feels like a year where Mother Nature could gratify Russia with a frost freeze in June. And a lot of times when you get a violent move higher in June, it's coming off of something that's happened in Russia. Savicon said that they raised their estimate by 1.2 million metric tons for Russian production and took it to 81.2. That still is not what you call really burdensome. And then you've got Rostov, the province there, or state, and the governor there is calling for state of emergency. So when I look at old crop corn, 85% of it's been sold. And so the commercial doesn't have any need to have to push bids to get the farmer to sell. So when I look at old crop corn, yes, we can still go higher, But for now, I think the concern is about new crop and the lack of farmer sales. Farmer sales are about the lowest they've been in 20 years for by the 1st of May. I think that the uncertainty with politics has maybe got them on hold for a minute. Price levels aren't high enough that attracts them. The other thing is that we keep hearing weather forecasts, talking hot June and July, possibly first half of August. If that is the case, those farmers aren't going to sell, they're going to hold. I think the bean market still has room to go. I think new crop beans will trade over $11. What's sad is that doesn't sound like much. When you're trading at what, $10.50 or something like that, or $10.59, that's certainly not asking the world. But it's going to take, we'd like an oil, a policy by the EPA, a decision of what they're going to do with the renewable fuel standard, the 45Z. We've had rumors, but we haven't got anything substantial. And the Senate, now with the big tax bill, the beautiful big tax bill, that one may be a little more of a struggle because in the House it only passed by one extra vote. And so I think that, but we keep hearing we're going to have something by June 1st. So that means they got to get busy this next week.
And that's it for a deeper look into the markets. Mike?
Thanks, Zach. And now a special report from Zach from the other side of the world. As we said earlier, Zach visited Italy and France recently. You'll hear more about that in a few minutes. But while he was in Italy, he got an idea for the story you're about to see. So sit back, relax, and see how they do things in the old country.
In the shadow of Mount Vesuvius, across the Bay of Naples, is a collection of communities known as Sorrento. Known mostly for tourism, as this region of Italy can best be described as dramatically beautiful. It's also known for a particular crop, citrus, and they've been growing it for centuries.
From 1492 from India and China, and they came, obviously through lots of traveling, and also say thank you to the Spanish and Portuguese. And here people now say it's a lemon from Sorrento, but we have to know the history. And now it's lemon from Sorrento. As you can see the consistency of the lemon, they are very healthy because we look after them. If you look above, there is a pergolato. Pergolato Sorrentino is actually from this area. In the past, they were used to do that to cover the heavy rain, the cold, the sun, and the insect. But we were used to have something more heavy, like a cover up. Now we just use nets. We can here the lemon can bloom 5 times per year. We use the lemon for orange marmalade, lemon marmalade, for olive oil with lemon inside, with orange inside, and essential oils. We use it for ice cream, giving the flavor. Very expensive but very effective. Natural, organic, and it's kilometer zero. We call it kilometer zero because it doesn't travel. A good food doesn't need transportation. The lemon is actually well organic cured. There is no chemical used, and we call it limone di Sorrento IGP.
Sarebbe identificazione geografica protetta.
It means identification geographically protect.
Lemons were not the original main citrus crop of this area. For many years, it was oranges. But less than a century ago, market conditions made that business more challenging.
Long time ago, in Sorrento, there were only orange trees, not lemon trees. Because Spain, they made a new cultivation of orange trees, and the market of orange in Italy, and especially in Sorrento, died because no competitor, there is we can't compete with them. That's why the people that live in Sorrento decide to make a graft on the orange tree of lemon tree. And from there, we made lemons of Sorrento. You will find lemon trees everywhere in all parts of the world, but you never find a lemon like lemon trees in Sorrento, because the characteristics that we are here near the sea, the volcanic place here, the temperature, you never find a lemon like this. But not because are mine, because it's real. It's real.
And that's one of the secrets of the lemon trade in Sorrento. They had to move quickly to transition. And since it takes years for lemon trees to produce, they turned to grafting them onto already existing orange trees to give them a head start. It's a process we are familiar with here in Mississippi. We've used it in our pecan industry to transition varieties.
And put this part of lemon here, for example. They cut a piece here and put the lemons part inside here and close it. Close it with a line, right? And after a month, 30 days, 25 days, you can see a new part of lemon born here.
So, what exactly do they make with all the citrus they harvest? Well, quite a few things. There are many small-scale farmers in the region, and they all contract with the same corporation to sell their lemons, in a similar fashion to Mississippi chicken farmers.
So we collect the lemons and go directly to, there is a big industry of lemon, Solagri. There is a cooperative of many farmers that take lemons all together there, and they work and they sell no part a big market of Italy, a big company, and also a little part to the rest of the world, like America, Germany, France, many countries we export our lemon.
Essential essence is one of the goods they make from the Sorrento lemon. It's used in many other wares, from beauty products to food. However, there's also another iconic item from the region, a particular drink that those who visit easily fall in love with.
This is a very interesting, all the lemons that from all these farmer, they actually make the limoncello for 3 makes that all around here. Marolucano, Villamassa, PM, they make the limoncello. That the limoncello is our, southern drink that we make with from 90 to 97% of alcohol and beautiful lemons that you see around.
However, the lemon business doesn't make as much money as it used to. There's a lot of competition on the international market. So, to supplement their income, many farmers have taken to opening bed and breakfasts on their property to allow tourists the opportunity to enjoy peace outside the city.
Because I've got many tourists come here only to see our garden. Because no one likes to stay in a hotel, also 5 stars downtown. We have all the service, all the comfort, but you don't have this. Our lemon is 0 kilometers also, but normally we usually also to plant some vegetables, that eggplant, tomato, and we used to eat normally like a 0 kilometer. Where our guests come here, collect fresh vegetables and cook together and eat at the end. They made a different cooking class. We want to try to make a different experience for our guests.
It's no secret that Sorrento loves its lemons. You can't go far in the city without seeing some form of product either made from or celebrating the industry. And it's not just for tourists. Locals enjoy fresh lemons straight from the grove on a regular basis, and it's an ingrained part of everyday life.
Wow, breathtaking landscape, and this whole idea of grafting lemons onto an orange tree.
Yeah, it was very beautiful down there, Mike. I'd love to go back sometime, and the people there were fantastic. Food was great. And yes, grafting lemon trees onto orange trees, because it takes so long for a lemon tree to grow, they had to jumpstart the industry by doing it that way. So that's how they made it happen.
Wow, great story. Great story. Well, next week, rebuilding the American clothing industry.
In the early days, Americans made their own clothes. Then 150 years ago, the apparel industry boomed. But more recently, a severe slide and a low point with COVID. Now, are things turning around? we'll visit 2 companies where hope springs eternal thanks to a resurgence in Mississippi's prized crop, cotton.
Putting our pants back on. That's next time on Farm Week. And before we go, we want to wish a happy birthday to Jacob Breitenbaugh, our studio director. We've been working with Jacob for a few years now. He's a talented young man, a director and a technical director, one of the great crew members here at the TV Center. Without folks like Jacob, Farm Week just wouldn't be possible, and it certainly wouldn't be nearly as much fun. So happy birthday, young man. Thanks for making us look so good and so professional every week. And also, before we go, we want to say thank you to the folks at the Delta Ag Journal for their coverage of Farm Week in their spring issue.
You'll want to pick up a copy of this magazine or visit online at deltaagjournal.com. Contributing writer Jack Criss interviewed us for his story entitled Farm Week, Mississippi's longest-running ag show, and he wrote a terrific article.
You'll get to know both of us a lot better and find out more about our editorial philosophy. And there's tons of other good content in the Delta Ag Journal as well. You'll want to read those articles too in the future. We'll even collaborate with Jack and his colleagues at the Journal on stories from the Mississippi Delta from segments we'll have here on the show. So thank you, Delta Ag Journal.
Remember, if you missed a story, look for past episodes of Farm Week on our website at farmweek.tv.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.